Hey, have you wished that you could simplify all the information out there and you didn't have to read 5 million books on how to parent your kid, or you didn't have to constantly be looking for new strategies every single day, or maybe you're just tired of playing whack-a-mole, going from one struggle to the next to the next. As soon as you put out one fire, another one pops up. Well, I've got good news for you. You do not have to do that anymore. Matter of fact, in today's lesson, what I'm going to be sharing with you is a simple 4-part framework that'll allow you to apply this to any chaotic struggle that you are going through. Now, if you are just joining us for the first time, we're actually on day 3 of 4 of our 4-part series on how to create an out-of-the-box life that both you and your kids love. Now, many of you guys have been following for a while. You may have even gone through our 7-day to calm the chaos free series just a little while ago. And we saw so many people going all in on that. And we got so many emails saying, you know what, can you give us a little bit of bite-sized information? Can you really just make it short and simple and sweet and to the point, and not as what we've been doing over the last 3 days? And so just to recap, for those of you that might have missed, and maybe this is your first time visiting, if you can just put in the comments if this is your first time. I see a lot of you are here, so if you can just say hello, I'd love that. So the thing is, though, is some of you might not know who I am. So I am Dana Abraham, and I'm the founder of Calm the Chaos and also Live and Lime Adventures, where we have over 300,000 followers and people in our community. And so been doing this for quite a while, helping parents around the world be able to parent outside of the box and see their kids for who they truly are, and being able to empower them, understand them, connect with them, so that each member of the family is seen, heard, and valued. So over the last couple of days, the first day, we talked a lot about different parenting styles. We talked about old way, we talked about new way, and then I introduced you to something we like to call the out-of-the-box way of parenting, thinking, approaching problems and situations, and also the out-of-the-box life. Then we moved from there, and so many of you wanted to know, okay, I got what it is. I know why this is so important and what possibilities it opens up for me. And then we shifted and talked about, how do we actually make this work in our own life? How do we get started? So I shared with you the roadmap and the journey that most people go on when they are trying to move from out of the box way of thinking and parenting into old way into an out of the box way. And we zoomed in on that very first step of shifting. And we talked a lot about how to shift our thoughts. Yesterday was all about swapping our thoughts, finding our super swaps, taking those thoughts that are holding us back from moving forward, and then swapping them for thoughts that help us move forward. And at the end of the call yesterday, so many of you, I got so much feedback saying, oh my gosh, I'm finally seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. I am finally seeing hope. I finally feel like I have a way to move forward and do things differently. I even got some feedback that said, oh, I've been trying design your own because I knew I didn't like old way and I knew I liked bits and pieces of new way, but I'm really struggling to fit it all together. And I love that there is now a framework for out of the box way. So some great feedback, but I also got a lot of questions like, what do I do, Dana? Like, this is all great. I can't just shift my mindset. Like, what do I do when my kid refuses to do school? What do I do when my kid won't eat the dinner that I made for them? How do I respond when my kid has been hitting at school or on the playground, or, when their cousins come over? How do I respond in the moment? What do I say to my husband when he interrupts me, or he does things his own way and undermines the way that I'm trying to parent? What do I do when the schools tell me that it's my problem, or that it's my parenting that has caused my child to be the way they are? And what do I say when they tell me that something might be wrong with my child? So many different questions have been coming up. And so what I wanted to do today is really dive in to the what to do. What do you say? How do you react? How do you respond? And how do you actually move towards being able to change the chaos that's surrounding you? And so if you are ready, if you can just put I am ready in the comments, then we will be diving right in. And I see a lot of people saying, I'm ready, I'm here. I love it so much. Someone says, I love this lecture. I love it, love it, love it. All right, so let me get my little screen up here. I'm going to share with you. All right, here we go. So I want to introduce you to something we call the Calm the Chaos framework. Now, the Calm the Chaos framework, if you've been around for long, you might have heard me talk about this, especially if you've been through one of our workshops in the past. But the Calm the Chaos framework is the core of everything we do here. This is our methodology. And this is something that we actually dive into step by step and deep. It is a proven framework that we've actually taken over 2,000 families through to get massive, massive transformation in their lives, going from hiding in closets to creating businesses with their family, going from kids never going to school and fighting every single day to go to school to having their best back to school ever. Kids who had almost no words and were melting down and hitting and fighting and kicking. And now they are advocating for themselves in their Zoom rooms. I mean, we have just seen some amazing transformations using this framework. So I want to go over the framework at a high level for you, but I'm not going to dive into every single piece today. So what I'm going to do is I just want to kind of go over it. It comes down to 4 key elements. These 4 key elements are exactly what you need to really apply this to any struggle or chaos that you're dealing with. And I know that that sounds far stretching, but as we go through this, I'm going to show you how other students have applied this in their own life with very specific struggles and the outcome that has happened. So what I want to share with you is it starts with 4 key elements. Number 1 is you. So at the linchpin, you are the center of everything. And so this includes your thoughts, your ability to anchor and remain calm, setting intentions and having a focus. And it also includes connection. Now, when we connect, this includes celebrating small wins, celebrating who our kids are for exactly who they are right now in the moment, not for who we think they are, and collaborating with our kids, working with our kids, and having that connection time with our kids. And it also includes communication and being able to talk about difficult situations and difficult topics. We move to understand. Understand includes questioning, really asking questions about where is this struggle actually coming from? What is actually behind this? Unraveling it to see the root cause and then organizing that information into unique profiles so you actually understand more about each of the people in the struggle. That moves us to empower. And empowerment is all about solving problems. We call these huddles, solving problems together, designing plans together, and even boosting each other's self-esteem, self-advocacy, self-regulation, and self-awareness. And so again, high level, just to recap, is you connect, understand, empower. And the beauty of this framework is when you're just starting out, when you're just starting at the beginning of your journey and you're using a lot of old way strategies and you're oscillating between old way, new way, old way, new way, and you're still struggling quite a bit with chaos surrounding you or, parenting whack-a-mole going from one struggle to the next, you don't have to have every single piece down. Now, like I said, in our full program, we go over every single piece. But to get you started, you really only need 4 pieces. So I'm going to zoom in here, and I'm actually going to get another piece of paper to help you zoom in so you can kind of see what this looks like. So I'm going to pull this here so you can kind of see how it fits. Let me grab my pen here, because the thing is you always need all 4 pieces. And what we find is usually people are missing 1, 2, or 3 of the 4 pieces, but they're usually doing something within the framework. And so what you really need is to focus on what we call sprinkles. So you need your you, connect, understand, and empower. And what we see is people will jump to empowerment, or they'll jump to connection, or they'll jump to you, or they'll jump to understanding. But rarely do people use each of these pieces in a systematic way. And so that's what I want to share with you today. The piece that you need, the what I like to say, nugget or sprinkle that you need in each of these is, whoa, that happens sometimes when I refill these, they go crazy. Okay. Woo. All right. So what you need is under the you piece, what you want to focus on here is just those shifts we talked about yesterday. And yay, you, we already talked a little bit about how to shift. Now, when we move to connection, the part we want to really focus on first is communicate. And then for understand, we want to really focus on the question piece. And for empower, we want to focus on designing a plan that works for everyone. All right. So those are the 4 pieces we're going to dig into. And what I want to do is, if you see, look, this is zoomed in, right? Connect has communicate, question, design, and shift our thinking. And you can see here, they already exist on the full framework. So we're going to shift, we're going to communicate, we're going to question, and we're going to design. So going back into our zoomed in, I want to share with you what this looks like when you apply it in someone's real life. And just keep those 4 pieces in mind. So I want to tell you a story first about Gala Kali. Gala Kali is a mama. She lives in UK. She's got 2 kiddos. She's got a background in education and in linguistics. And she was really struggling, basically since her kids were really young. And her boys fought constantly. How many of you guys deal with sibling fighting? Well, hers was like level 10 sibling fighting. She couldn't go to the bathroom without World War III breaking out in the other room. So she couldn't really do anything without being right next to her boys. And so it was causing a lot of struggles in her life. She couldn't have any time to herself. She was constantly worried. Her kids were constantly getting hurt. I mean, it was awful in her house. And she applied these simple pieces that I'm telling you about. So what she first did is she made a shift. The first shift she made was seeing all behavior as communication. And so she knew that her kids fighting with each other, her kids calling each other names, was just them trying to communicate with each other without the ability to have the words they needed. So then she knew that she needed to build the connection. So she communicated to them ways to build their positive interaction. And so she had some scripts that she used, and she would say, hey guys, why don't we do this? Why don't we do this? And then she moved to understanding. And once she had built that connection piece, she was able to move to questioning. Where were the fights really coming from? And her kids actually called it something, they called it the blame monster. They said that they were able to unravel that these fights were all coming from an underlying assumption that the other boy was trying to purposely hurt the other one, which wasn't the case. The real cause was that they weren't having the words to use. So in design, Gala Kali actually created a script that they could use, and she created a poster that said, when you're hurt, you can say this. When someone doesn't want to play with you, you can say this. And they built these scripts together that they could each use when they were struggling and when they were playing together. So simple shifts. This is without even the entire framework. This is just one piece at a time. So hopefully you can see how powerful that is, because now her kids call each other best brother friends. And now Gala Kali gets to focus on her dream work, which is helping other parents. And she has more time to herself. So how amazing is that? It doesn't only open up possibilities for her kids, but it opens up the possibilities for her family as well and for herself. So super, super awesome. So I want to walk you through one more. I want to tell you about Leslie. Now, Leslie also has two boys, happens to have two kids, and she was really struggling with one of our boys going to school. And the refusal was just downright awful. Like, she was getting social services called on her for her kids not going to school or for her son not going to school. I mean, it was at like a dangerous place of him refusing every single day. And so she applied these 4 simple steps. And she said, okay, I'm going to shift. I'm going to realize that shift. Okay, what is going on? Oh, this isn't about me. Like, this is about something else. Or basically, this isn't about school. This is about something else. And so we have a saying here. We call it Carly Simon, which is a lot like Carly Simon is a singer who has a song called You're So Vain. You probably think this song is about you, right? I don't know how many of you have heard that before. And so that's what this Carly Simon shift is, oh, that this is not about me, and they're not giving me a hard time. They're actually having a hard time. So now I can move to connection and I can build connection. And what she did there for communicate is she started validating the feelings that he was having, because they were going through a massive life transformation and a lot of stressful things at home. And so she just validated, this is where we're at. This is how hard life is right now. And I get it, buddy. It's hard. And she started actually being there and validating how her kids were. She said she was spending tons of time, but she wasn't actually connecting with them. From there, she was able to start questioning where the school refusal was actually coming from. And we have something that we call the behavior funnel. So she was able to question and say, okay, where's this behavior coming from? And one of the first things we put it through is basic needs. And so she said, oh my gosh, this is a basic need of safety and security. His world just got rocked and turned upside down, so he doesn't feel safe. And that was such an aha moment for her. It allowed her to really engage with him in a totally different way and respond to his behavior in a totally different way. So it moves to empower. Now, her empowerment piece, the design here, is that she actually took teeny tiny baby steps, and she actually calls them 2 tiny baby steps. So in the moment, it felt like there was no progress at all. But instead, she made a plan with her son, and then they would continue tweaking it and tweaking it and tweaking it. So the first plan was just to get in the car and sit in the car. The next plan was to get in the car and drive to the parking lot. The next plan was to get in the car, drive to the parking lot, and go to the front door. And you can kind of see where this is going from there. She just kind of was stacking. As he'd get comfortable with one, then they'd make a new plan and tweak it again and say, okay, now that we can get to the door, can we get inside? Now that we can get inside, can we stay for 5 minutes? Now that we can stay for 5 minutes, can we stay for 20 for your favorite subject? Now can we stay for the morning? Now can we stay for the whole day? And they just went back to school, and she said she had their best back to school ever. No fighting, no meltdowns, no refusal. It was absolutely beautiful. And now Leslie is actually able to have time for her dream job. She is also pursuing her own love of getting on her sailboat and going sailing. She has time for herself. She can leave her kids with others, where as a single mom, that was huge for her because she always had to be around her kids. But now that she's able to question, she can have so much other support now because others can help her. So that's 2 examples, 2 totally different stories. We dealt with school refusal and we dealt with sibling rivalry. And I know a lot of you struggle with those because, look, we've surveyed over 300,000 of you, and thousands of you responded and said sibling rivalry and school refusal was at the top of the list of struggles that you struggle with. And so I wanted to share stories of something that I knew you were struggling with, but we have got hundreds of stories just like that of people putting the framework and putting it into action in real life in their family. So I want you to think your action step. Think of what you came here for. What are you watching this for? Are you watching it for school refusal? Are you watching it for meltdowns or tantrums? Are you watching it for back talk? Are you watching it for picky eating or meanness or spouse arguments? Are you watching it for yourself? Are you losing your cool? Are you losing your calm? What is it that you need most right now? What is your biggest struggle right now? And can you see how you can apply these 4 steps? First, a shift, then some way of communicating and connecting with whoever else is involved, and sometimes that's ourselves, questioning what's under the behavior, what's under the chaos or the struggle, and then designing a plan that can be tweaked little by little. Are you guys seeing how you can apply this in your own life? Yes, I love this. Cassie says, I'm watching just from what others have learned because CTC is amazing. I love that so much. Yes, this is a framework that you can apply in your own life. Now, I want to talk about a couple of traps and pitfalls because I don't want you to fall into those. So as you try to implement this into your own life, we've seen a lot of people do that. We've had, let's see if I can get to move this just a second. Come back to me. There we go. I'll put this down to the side. All right. While you wait for me, you can just tell me if, scale of 1 to 10, do you feel like you could implement this in your life? Remember, shift, communicate, question, and design. There's 4 elements, 4 steps for any struggle that you're going through. Can you kind of start to see how you can use this on a day-to-day basis depending on what your struggle is? I hope so. All right, so we're going to dive in just a little bit more. We're going to talk about some traps and pitfalls because one of the things that we know to be true is when you're going on any journey, as you're going, we want success. We want success to look like this, right? But it never does. Instead, we start going on our thing and then we fall into these traps and we start going again and it goes like this. And then sometimes it goes like this, all right? And then we go back down and up. And that's kind of what success starts to look like. And so we want to talk about, I want to talk about a couple of traps and pitfalls that you can avoid when trying to implement the framework. Okay. Now, the very first one is something that we see in our Facebook group over and over and over again, and when people first come into our world. And it's something that we call spaghetti. You might be thinking, Dana, what in the world are you talking about? Why is spaghetti a bad thing? Now, I'm not talking about going gluten-free. What I mean here about spaghetti is, so let's just look at a big old bowl of spaghetti. Spaghetti, what I mean by this is it's just like anytime a problem happens, you're literally throwing everything you've ever learned, everything you've ever thought of or been exposed to. You're like, well, maybe this will work, or maybe this will work, or maybe it's this problem, or maybe it's that problem. How many of you have posted, even in our group, and we try to moderate it really heavily, how many of you guys have ever posted in a Facebook group and said, I'm really struggling with this, can you help me? And you get 300 different ideas or judgments or concepts or tools or maybe even diagnoses. And you leave feeling more frustrated and overwhelmed than when you first posted. Anyone else, like show of hands, have ever felt that way? Yeah, I see hand raised, right? So we call that throwing spaghetti at the wall. You don't need spaghetti. What you need is a proven framework that you can follow time and time and time again. So you can go through the steps, you connect, understand, empower over and over again. And it just allows you to say, okay, what are the steps? What is the process? How do I do this? Right? So then we move into, once people are doing the spaghetti at the wall, what I also see is I kind of see this happening, especially when you've tried a lot. A lot of times we think if we just get more and more and more and more, eventually we're going to find that golden nugget. We're going to finally find that magic bullet after searching all the things. How many of you have read more books, gone to more conferences, watched more summits, watched more YouTube videos, stayed up till 3 in the morning searching for information on Google, only for Google to tell you you're a bad parent? How many of you guys have been in that situation? Show of hands if you have fallen into that trap of more. If I just keep looking for more, maybe I'll find the magic bullet. But the thing is here, guys, you don't need a magic bullet. You need less, but better. You need less, not all the things. Because what happens is when you keep trying all the things, you're left with no hope. You're left feeling like nothing works. What you need instead is a system that helps you test one thing at a time. So you can actually say, ooh, this piece works. Ooh, this works here. Ah, this works for that child. Now, you'll hear people say, parenting is just trial and error. You don't need anyone to tell you what you do for parenting. But the truth is I believe that parenting is the most important job that any of us have. And so why would we not want to invest in the most important job that we have on earth? And with that, we need a system that's systematic and it's thoughtful and it removes emotion and it helps us really identify which piece works, which one doesn't, which piece works, which piece doesn't, so that you're not constantly all or nothing and then throwing away the entire thing like baby with the bathwater, right? Like throwing it all out and starting from scratch over and over and over again. So here at Calm the Chaos, we actually believe less is better. You don't need more, you need less. Okay, which is why our framework is simplified into 4 simple pieces, right? It's why I simplified today's training into just what you needed: the shift, the communication piece, the questioning, and the designing. Now, I want to go into the next one. The next trap that we see people falling into is they continue to invest in more tools, like a swing for the doorway or a body sock. Maybe that'll help them, or a fidget. How many of you guys have done this, right? You continue to invest in tools for your kids, trampolines and maybe even therapies, maybe even like, okay, we'll do, horse therapy, we'll do this, we'll do that, we'll get a dog. Like you're just constantly looking for more things and you're willing to invest everything into your kids. But what happens is if you have a fidget, but you don't really know when or where or how to use it effectively, then it becomes just another thing in the junk drawer. Or if you get a swing and you don't know when or where or why or how to use it, then it just becomes another source of arguments and fights. If you end up getting slime, you end up just arguing over where the slime can be played with and the mess that they're making with the slime. What instead we need to be investing in is the knowledge, the expertise, becoming an expert in our own kids. Think of it like a college degree in our own kids. We need to be investing in our own family, in our own knowledge, in our own expertise, so that we can siphon out the things that are useful, the things that are not useful. And now finally, the last trap that we see so many people falling into is when they're starting to climb up this way, or we've just gone through things like this. We've done all these amazing trainings. I've been live. I've been posting in the groups. I've been emailing you every day. And you're on a high. You're like, I can do this. This is amazing. And you know what? You're like, I will keep up with this. I will 100%. I will go and I will just, I know that I'm going to do this at my own pace. And what happens is we start out okay. And then we get a little sidetracked by the call from school. And then we have a really rough day. And then we forget to start focusing on wins. And then we can't remember our scripts. And then we don't even remember what the framework is. And we get so turned upside down that we now think nothing works anymore, or worse, we think that we're the problem. And the truth is is that all of us as human beings need accountability. We need to be surrounded by others who believe the same thing that we believe, who are on the same journey that we're on, who are pushing us forward. And I like to call this TOM, top of mind. We want it to be top of mind so that you're getting a little reminder. Oh, I forgot about that. Let me go check that out, right? So that you actually are being pulled back in. When you post, you're not getting a million suggestions, but you have this one resource, this one place, and you have an accountability and you have a support system to pull you along. Now, I am now that we've gone over the traps and pitfalls and we've gone over our framework and we've talked about how to apply this in your own life, and you've heard about stories of other people who have done the same thing. Now, I know that many of you guys have had questions. Matter of fact, we have had so many emails. When we did our 7-day series, we only do that once a year. And we got so many emails from people saying, I need something that I can do at my own pace. I need something that still has a little bit of accountability. I need a group. Like, I have seen a lot of people emailing and posting and saying, you know what, I miss when the workshop was going on, because the community was all together. We were all focused and going towards one direction. And now, with us being off for a week or 2 weeks, now what I notice is when I post, I'm getting spaghetti at the wall. So we've had a lot of people ask, is there any way that we can continue to work with the Calm the Chaos team? Is there a way that we can have bite-sized pieces, even though we're not ready for the full Calm the Chaos framework? Now, I got to tell you that we have got a big announcement. And tomorrow, on tomorrow's video, we are going to be opening up a brand new program for those of you who aren't quite ready to join the Calm the Chaos 90-day transformational program, but you know you want to just be surrounded by others who think the same as you, others who are on the same journey as you, others who are going to nod and shake their head in the same room as you, instead of giving you side glances or calling you a bad mom or judging the way that you did something. Instead, everyone there is with the same ideas and the same end goal in mind. And this is also, if you've been following along, you know that this is going to be something where we're actually going to provide you with a lot of the things I've been talking about for the last 3 days. So we're going to be talking about how we can continue to support you. The team's been working heavily on the back end to make this work. And for the first time ever, we have a way to make the CTC framework more accessible to more people. And I cannot wait to share that with you tomorrow. So if you are as excited as I am, if you can just say, I'm ready and I can't wait. The team has told me I cannot tell you today. I begged and I begged and I begged. And they said, Dana, we need one more day. So tomorrow, that is what tomorrow video is all about. I'm going to be walking you through our brand new membership. And I'm going to be announcing the name that all of you voted on and telling you what it's going to look like, what you're going to get, and how it's going to help you move forward in your journey to becoming an out-of-the-box parent who thinks out of the box, who lives out of the box, who's able to shift, who's able to remain calm in the moment, and who is confident in their own expertise, in their self, in their kids, and is starting to actually have a little bit more breathing room. And I cannot wait. I see so many of you in the comments saying, ready, ready, ready. I love it. So I cannot wait to share that with you tomorrow. So same time, tomorrow night, 8 p.m., we'll be right back here and I will be announcing our brand new membership, name, details, and all. See you there. Bye, guys.